Okay, so I had a couple more questions pop up about this thing. Specifically, people are asking me about
The steamboat.
and one person asked if that was a Mandela Effect, and no, it is not. And if you're not familiar with the Mandela Effect, you've probably seen it before. The steamboat has appeared on the state seal since its inception. If we look on my copy of the state flag, you can see it's kind of in the same spot, and it appears on that one. And if you do a little bit of looking around through older seals and older flags, you will see that steamboat is there. Why are steamboats in Kansas, though? Because that's usually not something we associate with transportation in Kansas. But you got to remember, the state seal was approved in 1861. In 1861, steamboats were incredibly important to Kansas, not just for the amount of people they brought in, but also for moving supplies from one way to another. At one point in time, you could get on the Kaw River and get on a steamboat from Kansas City and take the Kansas River, Kansas or Kaw River, same thing, from Topeka, Lawrence, and all the way to Fort Riley. If you've ever been to the Steamboat Arabia Museum in Kansas City, Missouri, it was actually found on the banks of the Kansas City, Kansas side of the river where its wreckage was recovered. There's even some accounts of the Smoky Hills River being wide enough and deep enough for a steamboat to travel on the river and bring supplies to that area. So why don't we associate steamboats more with Kansas? Railroads. So Kansas is a really big railroad state. We know that because of cattle drives. We know that because if you ever had to sit at a railroad crossing for more than 15 minutes with both things down, because we still consider to be one today. Those things are really annoying. Anyways, in 1863, the Kansas State Legislature passed a law making almost all Kansas rivers non-navigable. And a lot of that was done from the pushing of railroad companies. So by an act of the legislature, by declaring that the rivers in Kansas were non-navigable, that you couldn't make your way through them, that made it so that steamboats couldn't operate in Kansas anymore, and you only had one way to get goods from one place to another quickly. And that was trains. So railroad companies really pushed for that, and they really benefited from that happening. Steamboats have always appeared on the Kansas State Seal. Steamboats were very important to the early history of Kansas, especially Kansas Territory in the first couple of years of statehoods. But because of railroads, they just kind of shut down the steam business because they wanted more business. So there you go. Have a good day, guys. Peace.